Hey guys, welcome back to One Question. Today as you can see from Gibson's background, we are going to talk about cars, the origin of cars, and how they got here, and the position the cars are in our lives. So, Gibson, Melvin, as you guys know, my colleagues, my friends, this too.
Yeah, we are the inglorious bastards.
Who are you
Amen.
talking to? Your
Oh,
crush? Like, even my
No,
brain doesn't
no,
buffer
I
that
love, I
much.
love, I love how he was like, how the cars got here. I was like, the cars got here by driving. Do you know that?
Ha ha, very funny, motherfucker.
It
whoa.
drove right here. It
Oh,
drove
oh
right
no,
here.
Hulk just threw it across the world.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
just
like
said
I
Hulk.
mean,
He just said Hulk.
yeah.
No
Okay,
Hulk.
okay.
Come
Stop,
on.
stop wasting time, guys. Stop wasting time.
Stop
Okay.
wasting
Come on,
time. Okay.
gotta be professional. We have to be
Well,
professional. YouTubers, man, YouTubers.
and you are wasting time. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Anyway,
Origin of
so
cars, right? So
yeah,
let's talk about how the car started. Started in near the 80s or 86 by Carl Benz, the guy we know as who started Mercedes-Benz, who gave the idea for the car engine, and they implemented it. The idea for having cars was for mass transportation, right? I don't know exactly the history behind it, but I do know this much, that they wanted a more fuel efficient way of going around here and there, especially in Europe. All right, in Europe they wanted to get this the industrial revolution, where America was going forward with their aeronautics, whereas Europe was moreover progressing in terms of vehicular or cars. All right. So if we talk about the origins, it's mostly Germany who started. Like I said, was the guy Carl Benz.
Benz.
Then yeah, like after that, the designs was there. It was so blocky, honestly. Like they didn't really care about the aerodynamics at that point. They just wanted
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
get from point A to
One
point B.
point A to point B.
Exactly.
it's like
So
back then they
they
didn't think much about like how fast do we need it to go.
Yeah,
exactly
We just need to
they
go. That's
preferred
it.
the
they preferred
convenience
function. Yeah, the
over.
function over performance.
I mean, if you think about it, aerodynamics has its thing with function, because a less aerodynamic car is more prone to tilt over due to wind, or if it oversteers, it'll just basically
No,
fall
like
over like that car from Mr. Bean.
but they had to start at least somewhere to begin with. So they
Yeah,
started with
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the first car motor wagon, as
Yeah,
they used to call it,
exactly.
in 1886. Yes. So basically,
Guys, Google on people. Guys, exposed.
hey, I don't know
Exposed,
much
people
about cars.
exposed.
Just
I
exposing
know.
that,
Go
all
on,
right?
go on, go on, go
So,
on.
Wow.
but yeah, like they had to start somewhere. So, Carl Benz, as you said, he invented, and at least he got the patent for the first motor vehicle. And after that, the designs changed. It went on. Of course, the engine was actually created a long time, like I think before the cars, obviously a
Yeah,
long time
the
back.
engines were mostly for planes. All right,
Mhm.
for the war they made it for boats and planes, but later on they used those same engines for making a car, but they knew that the engines were very odd. Like the way a plane, then aviation engine works, cannot be used to power a
For a
car which
car.
has four wheels. Before it had three wheels. Mercedes made the car with three wheels,
Yeah.
right? But as the time went on with the first World War II, if I'm not wrong, the roles actually changed, because the engines were developing. Developing so fast, all right, the tables turned. Planes were now using car engines, all right. Rolls
Mhm.
Royce, if I'm not wrong, Rolls Royce engine was used by the Spitfire. Okay.
Mhm.
Later on, Ford made the engine for P-51 Mustang, so on and so forth. But the basic engine that was created was inline engine, which was
Yeah.
basically pistons going up and down, sucking, blowing. I'm still talking about cars here, guys. Sucking and blowing and burning out the fuel. All right, and exhaust. All right, that was. I'm not kidding. These were the words in the paper, man. These were the words in the paper. Sucking and blowing. Okay, I'm
We
not
did.
making this shit up.
He did
Okay.
enough research for that.
He
I
did
can
enough
see that
research
right
for
now.
that, exactly. That was the sole purpose of all the research. In line, it's in line.
I hate you people.
We love you too.
Well,
It's all right.
yeah, it's
No,
all
but
right,
like
man. It's
that
all
that
right.
that leaded to different upgrading and all the trains and whatnot. The vehicles were there. I
Mhm.
really don't know what I'm saying because I really don't
Where
know a
did you
thing at
go
all.
from
I will,
trains?
as I said, I don't know anything, so I'll just stay shut. All
All
right.
right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Like sticking on to the theme of engines. All right, it went from pistons, but throughout the ages, what happened with these pistons? The only thing that they changed, like about the pistons, were the placements. Some, like Johan can
The,
elaborate on the V.
the rotary engine, like
Rotary. Oh, we're
rotary
going
engine.
to that. We're going to that shit, man. That's like the pinnacle of engine engineering. All
Oh.
right. Uh, like Felix
Mhm.
Winkle, who gave the idea for the rotary engine. Can you like, via the power of editing, give a picture of rotary engine on
Sure, sure.
Gibson's face? Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. So the idea of rotary engines, hope you guys can see it, okay, was a triangular gear housed within another circular housing, all right? So what
Mhm.
this triangular gear was set on a fixed gear and it would rotate. And via this rotation, all right, by the 3 points of the triangle, it would suck in air from outside, from the intake, combust it, blow the air and the fuel mixture via um, spark plugs,
Yeah.
and that would force the engine, that would create force and force the rotor to move the other way and push the air through the exhaust. Right?
And
That was a
yeah,
simple thing.
yeah,
Yeah, go on,
the
go on.
the only problem like when the rotary engine first came out was that it had like the friction was too much. Like there would have been like scratch.
Exactly,
Like the
exactly.
problem.
It
Yeah,
would scratch around the
yeah,
housing. It would
yeah.
scratch around the housing. Then they later figured the idea. Like no one really gave much of a heed to this point, except for Mazda. Those brilliant bastards knew.
They already
Those
started.
brilliant bastards knew. So Mazda was like, I'm gonna buy that. I like your idea. They took the idea, they improved upon it. They
Oh
introduced
my
these things
lord.
called
The-
they introduced these things called apex seals. All right.
Mhm, mhm.
What you are talking about, like the friction, that apex seal reduce the friction and increase the vacuum for the
Yeah.
air to be combusting, right? So but still the problem with like the good thing about rotary engine was that it took up less space for like compared to a inline or a flat six or whatever. All right, but again the problem was the wear and tear was immense
Yeah,
and it was
exactly.
loud. It was like gunshots. All right, I know gunshots. I lived in Pakistan. All right, and that car
Oh,
Wow.
that car
wow.
was,
Whoa.
it's
Shit.
like gunshots.
Fish.
Okay, it's like you have a Toyota
Fish.
Supra with that with the rotary engine. I'm like, what the hell is that? Wow.
Talking about Mazda, the road and the rotary engine, the one of the best examples like should be up to date. The RX-7 and the RX-8, the RX-7 especially.
Mm.
The rotary engine, such a nice car. Such a nice balance of all the ingredients that goes into a car. Such a nice combination. I really
Exactly.
like. Yeah.
Like, all right, I feel bad for leaving Gibson off. Like,
No,
Oh.
let me
no,
say
no. The
something.
thing is, no, the thing is, I am at a point, all right. I'm from the perspective of the audience. Like, I'm learning more things over here than I learned in.
Hope not. All right.
I'm gonna beep that part out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just do that.
yeah, just do that. So like, heading a little bit with the engine theme was again the changing of how the orientation of the pistons,
Mhm.
the V, the flat line, flat four, flat six, whatever. I don't know much of the names. All right, leave me alone.
Inline
Okay.
four, inline six.
Inline four and inline six. There you go. Then came one of my personal favorites, the Boxer engine. All right, or what they call the Contra engine. So the idea of these boxer engines, where normally you would see the pistons going vertically up and down, right? You know this much, right, Gibson?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Up and down. All
Yes.
right. So a boxer engine or a contra engine, um, what the idea was, the pistons would go horizontally. Okay, it would go horizontally. So some of the first cars that used this idea mostly was Subaru, right, for their WRX, for their rally racing. The big advantage of this was, there's this thing called engine imbalance, right? So sometimes the pistons would not be in sync. Sometimes they would go up with higher force than going down, right? But what the boxer engine or the contra engine did, it used only one drive shaft, which went between the pistons. All right, so they're all in balance. The engine will be always on balance. All right, so that was the main kind of the benefit. And the best thing, for every rotation of the drive shaft, the pistons the pistons would move three times. All right, that's like that's efficiency galore. Okay, if you are going through mud and things that the cross country rally races are gonna go through, like the Porsche 911, which is a baby. All right, like these cars need something like that. All right, they need like anyway. All right.
Damn. He's
Drink
excited.
some water, buddy. Drink some,
He's
buddy.
very
Drink
excited.
some
You
water.
want to
Yeah.
drink some water? Want us to
You want
wait?
some water, man?
I'm good. My saliva will keep my throat wet.
Wow.
All right, moving on.
That was
Moving
That
on.
was
All right.
moving on.
well, like some of the questions would be like, first off, we talked about the engine, the first invention of the car. The question would lead to like what are some of the flaws that also the cars had. Before that, we have had different designs throughout the years of the car making industries and whatnot. Like through 1900s to present day, we had way, like if you compare it right now, we have a lot like difference, a big difference between the designs. So yeah, what about it?
Why don't you tell us, Gibson?
Christ's sake.
All right.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Designs. What to say about the design? Designs were mostly
Well,
blocky.
yeah,
Yeah,
blocky.
go on.
Yeah,
No,
I just want
go
to
on.
say
Go
that
on.
blocky.
Or yeah, they were blocky. They were
blocky.
like this is really interesting. All right, it started with blocky designs and it went back to blocky designs again.
Are you
Right?
talking
The
about
f-
what's the name of the car? The tin?
Design.
No.
No.
I'll get to that. I'll get to
Okay.
that.
Okay. Go there. Go there.
Yeah.
Someone did some horrible work. Hmm.
Like you said, the design, it was more blocky and it went back to being blocky. Like the designs were mostly dominated by the Europe part of car manufacturing, because they were the ones who was actually pimping out cars based on designs,
Italiano.
whereas America was like power, all right, with Ford and whatnot. I'm sorry. That was very rude. If anyone is American here, I'm so sorry. Okay. Anyway, so the main idea, the main idea of designs were the idea of drag coefficient. Is my
Hmm.
voice okay? By the way.
Yes, it's okay, my friend.
All right, fine. I'm getting paranoid. So the main idea about having designs was the drag coefficient, which meant how aerodynamic a car is or is not. Let's more. Oh God, my brain. The less the drag coefficient, the more aerodynamic it is. For example, a brick would have a drag coefficient of 1. That means it's really not that good. Like right now, in recent days, the Mercedes A-Class, they have a drag coefficient of 0.22, which is the lowest ever. And that says something, all right? So talking about the designs and everything, Germany was progressing in the aerodynamics the most, right?
Mhm.
Like they brought out the Tatra, they call this Tatra, and it was near the 60s or early 50s, basically this had the lowest drag coefficient at that point, which was 0.2455, and this design of the Tatra was later on copied by VW to make the Beetle. All right, like like Johan with the power of editing gave a picture of Tatra or something. I don't know.
Sure, sure,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. So after the 50s, the idea of aerodynamics became so mainstream. All right, the car manufacturers started going off of more blocky designs to more aerodynamic designs.
Aerodynamic
Right,
designs.
because and in the same era, sports and racing started taking place. All right, again, application of cars besides just transport.
The
Right, so
entertainment.
yeah. So then, like after that, they started making it in a teardrop designs where it was more smooth and everything. Yeah, smooth. Sorry. So but later on,
This guy gives me such a
after
hard
the
time.
okay, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was so wrong in that, man? I like
Time.
curves. All right. So after the 50s, all right, early 80s,
Oh my god.
car the designs took a turn from being rounded. They became again blocky. All right, like there's this guy. His name is Gareto, if I'm butchering the pronunciation. All right, he founded the wedge design of cars. You know how the cars they look like a wedge. It just goes here and just here and goes flat like that.
Yeah.
All right,
Even the
yeah,
hatchback.
kind of like no, not the hatchback. Come on, man. Like do you know the Maserati Ghibli?
Yeah, yeah.
BMW M1,
Mhm,
the
yeah.
DMC DeLorean, the
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
DMC.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
he
DeLorean.
designed those cars. He designed those cars,
Oh,
right? That's he designed this car. So you see, it went from curvy to straight up bricks, but still worked. Right? It still did the part. Okay, so
You
but
see,
this
two
man,
words, Melvin. Two words. Calm
to
down.
come
you see,
down.
the thing is, but these bricks went fast and it was good. Okay, this. I'm
Uh,
sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
the one,
But
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like the one thing about like you said the DeLorean, like the one thing that was so outstanding about that car, like that, like when you actually looked at it, it's looked so futuristic. It looks
Exactly.
so
It's like
nice.
for its time,
It was way
it
ahead of
was
its time.
way ahead.
Way ahead.
Man, like the fact that Back to the Future used
Back to the
that
Future,
car,
It's
obviously.
like,
like
it's like just
it
puts it
Is that
sets
a
into
up.
the scene.
coincidence? Is that a
Yeah,
I
coincidence?
guess
I think
not.
not.
like it just puts it in perspective. But like the idea of wings having not a spoiler but a wing was first taken up by Lotus. All right, they were really not doing well. That's why we don't talk about Lotus much. But yeah, but Lotus was the first people who actually
Well,
introduced the wing,
in
right?
Top Gear, they actually gave an abbreviation of Lotus. Let me try to remember. You go on.
All right, fine. You remember it.
You go on. I'll try to remember.
So the cars then what happened? The wing and blah blah blah. Then they figured out the idea of the Bernoulli's principle. All right, that means that higher pressure will be on top of the car and lower pressure on the bottom. What Bernoulli principles says is basically speed of fluid is inversely proportional to the pressure. All right. I hope you understand it because I'm not explaining that again. So basically, slow moving fluids will go above the car and create high pressure on the top and low pressure on the bottom. So what does this help is to create negative uplift, which is downforce. Downforce helps the car to
In
stick on the
simple
track
words,
more.
in simple words, all right. If the air, all right, stays longer, the heavier it gets. Thus, more dragging power. Thus, the
Yeah. I
slower you
got it.
get.
Yeah,
Boom. There
according
you
to.
go. Simple words. Just go with it.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
You
According
just
to.
botched my entire plan. Screw you.
Uh,
Anyways, yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah, John.
according to Top Gear, like Jeremy Clarkson, he said like the abbreviation of Lotus was lots of trouble, usually serious.
Usually.
Lots of trouble,
Wow.
usually serious.
Usually serious.
Usually
Man,
serious.
Jeremy Clarkson, am I right? Jeremy
Jeremy
Clarkson.
Clarkson, that guy, man,
Uh,
freaking love that guy. Like the whole Top Gear, it was a freaking too good.
Yeah, like but later
But
on
now
they
Top Gear, we don't talk about that, right?
Top Gear is it was on three pillars. All right, it was standing on three pillars,
Yeah,
and
with
those pillars name was Jeremy Clarkson,
Jeremy
Richard Hammond,
Clarkson,
and
Richard
James
Hammond,
May.
and James May.
All right, these three people, Top Gear was resting on those.
Top Gear
When
resting
they
on those.
left, when they left, Top Gear
We don't
fell
talk about
down. Right,
that. We don't talk
there was
about that.
no saving. All right, Joey from Friends couldn't find any job, started working for Top Gear. I'm like, go back to who you were dating. All right, Tribbiani. Sorry, wrong universe, but anyway.
Yeah.
True.
No, like that brings us to a very important topic, that is like the economy of the car industry itself, where it started, where it grew, where it went,
Where it started
Johan,
going
And as we
down.
my
know,
lord,
exactly, Johan is
my
the
Where-
lord,
famous guy.
Wow.
Go on,
please take it over.
Well,
fly away.
when we talk about the economic issues, like the real economic problems actually started like from the 1973 when the oil prices hit. Shit not sorry. The whole the whole car industry it started going downhill. Woo! The cars that you love the most, like the American cars that people actually love, like because of their like big engines, their big revving and everything, broom broom. Well, those were no more, my friends.
Broom! Not even a Mustang. Broom, broom.
Well,
Broom, broom.
broom broom. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Well, sorry for the interruption. Well, the new laws that were being setting in the like the CAFE law, the CAFE standards they called it, like the cars had to be smaller, they had to be more the fuel efficient, that so that because the oil prices were skyrocketing at that point, the prices were so high, the people started actually discarding or ignoring the cars that were being made in America, by the American car manufacturers, because the cars that the American car manufacturers made, like for example, Dodge is a very good example of that. They were they used large cubic engines and everything, so they took a lot of oil. So at that point, what happened? Like, I'm really sorry to say this. Like the Charger era was at that point
It was botched, basically.
died out.
It's just gone. It's just gone right there. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
R.I.P.
I blame Fast and Furious for this.
R.I.P.
Not even
Wow.
the car manufacturers. I blame
Fast
them.
and Furious.
Like big ass
One less
engines
ride?
in front. What's wrong with you? One less drive, more like
One
one
less
less
ride?
bottle of oil for them.
One last
Sorry.
ride. The interesting fact is, in one last ride, we have been hearing that from the very beginning of the Fast and Furious, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like one
they'll
more
be in
game for
cyberpunk. They'll be in
gamers.
cyberpunk. They'll be like one last ride.
One last
Like,
ride.
how many? How many? How many? Like they're planning on going to space. All right.
Yes,
the
they are.
franchise.
They
They're
actually
like,
are.
one last ride. Yeah. Yeah. I thought you were talking about Earth. Are you going to talk about celestial space, cosmic?
I do not know, my
Oh.
friend. Well, God bless them, whatever they're doing. Well, yeah, the next change that I want to talk about, the next big thing that happened, like the American car, the whole car industry started becoming globalized. By which I mean the if I talk about like the American car market, people did not want the American the cars made by American car manufacturers anymore. So they wanted a better solution, an alternative
Yeah,
to
because
those cars.
the only thing Americans wanted was broom broom.
Vroom, vroom. Exactly.
Honestly speaking,
Honestly speaking.
like they wanted,
Vroom,
like
vroom.
they were like Jeremy Clarkson. All right, power. All right,
The equation of power, lightweight, more speed equation. That was actually made
not
by
not.
uh um wait. Ferrari.
Take
Yeah,
your
sorry.
time.
Yeah, okay.
Really?
Mo-
I think it was
Like,
work done per
sorry
unit
for the
time.
delay, advertisement just comes up.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that might happen. We don't even know that because there is a lot of ads going on YouTube right now. Okay, anywho, like the foreign manufacturers actually started coming to the like the US market because as I said, the people did not want the cars anymore. There were better solutions because they consumed less fuel. Cars, manufacturers like the Toyota, Nissan, they started coming into the market, and they were very well demanded, and the market share of those like the US car manufacturers actually fell. They fell hard. They fell real hard.
Yeah, because I would say that imports were taking over at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because people wanted a solution, and America at that point was all, as always now I'm not going to go to that, but it was a central hub. It was the financial. If you talk about financially and luxury and everything, it was America. If you talk to the superpower of the world,
The Western power,
the
basically.
Western power, yeah. So actually, they wanted a solution fast, and Japan, they gave it. And another problem that happened, the employment trends, because uncertainty is firms such as Peugeot and Sterling, the UK firm, the French firm, they coming out of the US market. They were thinking, nah, this is not happening. The people are not buying the cars. So, and if I give an example, and also because of the emission standards that was set by the government,
Ah,
the global warming problem and everything, the emission standards, and because of the emission standards, the fixed cost of the production in the production that was going very high. So because of this particular reasons, the manufacturers names that I said previously, the Sterling and the Peugeot, they started going out of the US market. And one
like
example I want, yeah, go on.
no, 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 say. Then
All right. Yeah,
because
the
my
one
my one's very
example,
immature.
the one example that I wanted to give was of GM. It closed down 10 assembly plants and opened one.
Basically the James May of car manufacturing.
I'm sorry.
You got it. You got it. You got it, man.
Oh god.
Oh my God. This is James May, man. He's so slow. He's like everyone arrived at the starting line. He's like, where's GM? Where's GM, man? He's still at the ninth assembly plant. I'm like, wow, what the hell, man?
It's Captain Slow for no reason, right? There's a reason he's called Captain Slow.
No, like
Uh,
if you see the trends also the
yeah.
trends, like at the 80s, like I would say being a big fan of Initial D, I would say during the 80s, imports were high on trend. Like especially Japanese cars, like from Mazda to Toyota, the Toyota AE 86.
86.
Oh my god, man! A Japanese car
Phenomenal.
of that price,
A phenomenal
having
car.
pop-up headlights. Come on, man! You want
You
some
don't
of
get
that?
that.
All right.
You don't get that in
Yeah,
America.
right now, yeah, exactly. Like if you wanted some of that, you either had to buy a Jag, or buy the Brits, which are really high price, or a Ferrari or a Lambo. Yeah, Lambo. All right, but like if I talk about a little bit of the market shift for the
Yeah.
cars, yeah, like right now it's so divided. All right,
Yeah.
there is economic cars, sedans, you name it. All right, then there are alternatives like hybrids or completely electric cars like Tesla.
Sure.
Right, so now like there's also a very niche market for cars, which is supercars or hypercars, right, which are like these are the manufacturers who spare no expense.
Exactly.
All right, I can see
They
Gibson
want to
dead
bring.
in the eye. How are you?
No, I'm
How
just
are you?
concerned about the time.
the,
Not
the,
gonna
All
the,
lie.
right,
the
Look
hypercars
at
trying
look
to
at the
just bring
time.
in everything from the car they can possibly can, like every bit of
exactly. They're
performance,
pushing it. They're just pushing
pushing
it.
it the very
But again,
limits.
like there's a like question of cost. Like that comes to the pros and cons of a little bit of it. All right, like there's so less people who can afford such a
Exactly.
car like that. Right, like why make them at all? Isn't it like why don't let's say I'm gonna be crazy here. Why don't Koenigsegg just start making us like hyper sedans? All right, like why don't you like if you're an office man, if you're an accountant, why don't you go in a hypercar? Maybe kill yourself, but you'll still go down in style. All right,
In a
like they,
Koenigsegg, exactly.
exactly like
I'm not gonna.
Koenigsegg, they like the Koenigsegg, like Von Christian Koenigsegg, who started the company, being a crazy mad lad he is, he created a four-seater car, a four-seater hypercar. Like, if you ain't gonna die, you can take your entire family with you. All right, you can take your entire family with you in the car crash. All right, because why not? Like, we will
That's
be
why
the
not.
ones who died. We will be the ones who died in a Koenigsegg.
In
All
a
right,
Koenigsegg.
but yeah,
Our
why
names will be
not?
written down in our names will be written down in history.
In
Well,
asphalt.
that actually raises up the question, like, what are your thoughts about a future possibility of cars, designs, engines, whatever, source of fuel, whatever? What do you guys
Um,
think?
Cyberpunk 2077. I'm out.
Yeah, that's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
That's Melvin's currently that's Melvin's solutions to everything. Like, and if you talk about futuristic stuff, it's gonna be this is the
Cyberpunk
solution.
2077. That's it.
Or it's like
2077.
if there's any problem, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, he'll just figure it out.
Silverhand man, he can do anything with the silver hand.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's our Jesus, but anyways, but on a serious note,
Jesus.
Wow.
innovations. Johan, you take this thing, then I'll follow up on you.
Oh, well, about innovations, I would like to say, like, yeah, as you all already brought out the point about hybrid cars and the electric cars that we were seeing, it's just Tesla. Like, one of the first mass-produced hybrid car is the Prius, Toyota.
Mhm.
It just set an example. It wasn't like we do not like Prius. Nobody in their right
It's an
minds
ugly
like the
ass car.
Prius.
I'll say shut.
Seriously, nobody in their right minds actually like the Prius. Like, actually, I don't know about you guys. Those who have a Prius, I'm sorry, but it's a bad car, and that's a fact. Anywho, moving on.
Yeah, like if you want to buy a hybrid car, why don't you buy a McLaren P1? What is wrong with you guys? Are you poor? It the, did the economic
What?
system did the economic system keep you poor? That's not
Okay,
my
time
problem.
time to
That's your
leave,
problem.
guys. All right.
Buy
Thank you
a
very
car.
much for
Buy a
watching.
McLaren.
Thank you
P1.
for watching. It's the end.
No,
Yeah.
buy a McLaren. What's wrong with
Speak,
you? It's a
speaking
widowmaker.
speaking
Next
of the
question.
P1, that car is it's a
Sexy
beautiful car.
mamacita. Sexy mamacita. All right, the Widowmaker edition.
The
All right,
Widowmaker edition.
completely black. All right, it goes down the track. You see nothing just by the black, like
The
the
black
red
right,
tail lights.
the red tail
Like the
lights.
tail. I'm not.
It's poetic. The car, it's freaking poetic.
Bro, it's so smart. All right, it has a built-in computer that will monitor how much drag and how much downforce that you're generating. Based on
Mhm.
that, it will elevate
It
your
elevated
spoilers at
aerodynamics.
the
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
Yeah, when you sit in
Yeah,
that car, you don't feel like a driving seat. It's a cockpit at that point. It's a cockpit. All right, it's a glorified plane that is on the ground that can't fly. I love it.
McLaren does such a clever job with their aerodynamics, man. It's so good. And yeah,
McLaren and Koenigsegg
Koenigsegg
man.
and Koenigsegg. Not even gonna lie,
Ooh,
like both of these
like
companies, they're so good. Like, they have taken the aerodynamics to a next level to what they can
like
actually do.
like the McLaren P1, like the sides, it scoops air out, creating vortexes.
Yeah,
So basically, you don't need splitters or anything. You just have that, all right, without making it look ugly with tuners and whatnot.
exactly.
Like, and then
You don't need any extra
Koenigsegg.
bodywork in that car. Come on.
Yeah, and
It's
Koenigsegg, like Koenigsegg, they were like, they were thinking 2000 IQ stuff, all right? They were like, I ain't gonna put no rims. I ain't gonna put no rims on my car. It's gonna be a solid piece of metal. I'm like, why? It's like, no more turbulence. I'm like, oh,
look at
it has vortex. Nah, it has vortex generators at the back. So it's like, man, what else do you need? You don't need a plane. You just use a Koenigsegg.
just use the Koenigsegg.
Just use a Koenigsegg. Yeah.
If you
Anyway.
do need a plane, just put some wings, man. Come on, it can fly.
Just put some. Yeah,
Just
it
put
will
some
fly.
wings. It will
If you
fly.
think about it, it will like because some cars had a turbine at the back. They were like, it's not for speed, it is for some other purposes. But nah, it was not for speed, but it was for downforce. All right, and Formula One saw that they were like, oh, you being smart? I banned that shit, and they banned that entire thing. Like Formula One legit was like they were dumb for a second. They're like, all right, I guess you can do it. They ran 2 races with that theory with the turbine at the back. They won all the races. They were like, something's up with this dude. Something's up. They test it out. All right, they're like, oh, you smart ass, you out. All right, but yeah. Good shit.
You out.
All right. Just fade out. All
Um.
right, just fade out a
Uh,
little.
All right, so this was
Bye-bye.
our very exciting discussion.
very
about
exciting
cars.
video.
Hope you
Yeah.
enjoy it. All right, we talked a lot, but
But
yeah,
It was
enjoyed
a good one.
we enjoyed every bit of the video, and I guess like you guys will also enjoy the video. Yeah, he did not. He's saying
bye
I'm
bye.
sorry.
Fading
Well,
out,
bye bye
fading out,
guys.
fading out, fading out. I will not fall.